Every tag on his clothes had been sliced away with surgical precision, yet his suit was flawlessly tailored, his shoes freshly polished, and a single unlit cigarette rested behind his ear, as if someone had spent hours erasing exactly who he was while making sure the world could see exactly how carefully he had prepared. December 1, 1948, Somerton Beach, Adelaide, Australia. An unidentified man was found dead on the sand, carrying no wallet, no identification, and no clues to his past. The central mystery remains: who was he, and why did someone go to such extreme lengths to wipe his identity from existence? If this gripping puzzle of history intrigues you, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the unknown. Let us turn the clock back to a calm morning on the Australian coastline before the quiet peace of the shore was shattered forever. The air carries a heavy, damp chill from the southern sea, rolling lazily across the empty expanse of sand. It is early morning, long before the crowds arrive to enjoy the gentle waves. A pair of local residents walking along the coastline notice a figure lying near the seawall. At first glance, he appears to be resting, perhaps sleeping off a late night under the stars. But as they draw closer, the illusion of sleep gives way to a profound, unsettling stillness. The man is dressed in a heavy wool suit despite the rising summer heat, his posture stiff and unnatural. Investigators soon arrive at the scene, securing the perimeter as the damp sea breeze whips across the empty beach. They begin the meticulous search of his pockets, expecting to find a wallet, a train ticket, or a simple letter. Instead, they find absolute nothingness. Every single clothing tag has been meticulously razor-cut away. Every manufacturer mark is gone, leaving bare, frayed threads where a brand name once stood. There is no money, no personal belongings, and not a single shred of paper to hint at his origin. As the police comb through the lifeless pockets during the beach discovery and the razor-cut tags event, a quiet dread settles over the officers. This is not the work of a common drifter or an accidental drowning. This is an engineered disappearance, executed with absolute, chilling calculation. The investigation soon deepens as authorities inspect the inner lining of the trousers, discovering a hidden fob pocket carefully concealed within the fabric. Tucked deep inside is a tiny, tightly rolled scrap of paper bearing the Persian phrase Tamam Shud, signifying that it is finished. When forensic experts trace the torn edges, they match the fragment to the final page of a rare edition of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. 7 months later, in July 1949, in a bizarre twist, a stranger steps forward to hand over the exact copy of the book, which was mysteriously tossed onto the back seat of his unlocked car during that fateful week. On the back cover of this recovered volume rests a baffling block of handwritten capital letter code, alongside a faint, hastily scribbled phone number that no intelligence agency has ever definitively broken. Following this fragile lead, police track the number to a local nurse living nearby who nervously denies any connection to the dead man, her voice trembling as she claims she has never seen him before. Doctors suspect a rare, fast-acting, and undetectable poison, but the limited medical technology of 1948 cannot confirm the chemical agent, leaving no visible signs of a struggle or internal damage. Decades pass with the case trapped in perpetual silence until 22, when forensic genealogists utilizing advanced DNA profiling controversially identify the man as Carl Webb, an electrical engineer from Melbourne. Yet even with a tentative name attached to the silent traveler, the ultimate cause of death, the true meaning of the cipher, and the identity of the person he was meeting remain completely unsolved. As investigators dove deeper into the void left by the deceased engineer, the inquiry fractured into an unsettling labyrinth of espionage theories and silent shadows. The mystery transcended a simple tragedy, morphing into a Cold War puzzle that baffled intelligence agencies across the globe. Some veteran analysts suspected foreign espionage, wondering if the man carried state secrets across international borders before a silent elimination silenced him permanently. Others pointed to unlisted intelligence operatives, suggesting his immaculate suit and polished shoes belonged to a world of deep cover and hidden agendas. Yet, every single path forward hit an impenetrable wall of silence. The local authorities interviewed numerous citizens, but no one could place his face in the bustling streets of Adelaide, nor could anyone explain why he traveled without a single piece of luggage or identification. The public grew fixated, flooding police stations with tip lines and competing theories, desperate to attach a narrative to the cold beach discovery. Newspapers published endless columns dissecting the unsolved cipher and the lingering shadows surrounding his final hours. Decades melted away, transforming a contemporary police inquiry into an enduring historical enigma that resisted every scientific breakthrough. Even with modern genealogical tools finally giving a name to the silent traveler, the deeper machinery of his life remains completely obscured by time. Why did an ordinary electrical engineer leave Melbourne for a lonely stretch of sand carrying a coded message? Who was he waiting for on that fateful night when the tide rolled in? The questions continue to echo through modern archives, proving that some secrets are designed to outlive the people who carry them. The investigation stands frozen in time, a chilling reminder of how completely a human life can vanish without leaving a single trace behind. As the public stared in bewilderment at the unsolved puzzle left on the desolate beach, newspapers across the globe began turning the tragedy into a legendary cold case. The sheer audacity of walking into the ocean breeze without a single shred of documented history captured the collective imagination of a world recovering from wartime paranoia. In the late 1940s, the atmosphere of international suspicion cast long shadows over any unexplained death. Citizens wondered if the quiet engineer was merely a pawn in a much larger geopolitical chess game orchestrated by unseen intelligence agencies. Cold War tension hung thick in the air, transforming an ordinary coroner's file into a labyrinth of espionage speculation. Cryptographers worked tirelessly behind closed doors, staring endlessly at the unsolved letter block recovered from the back of the forgotten book, yet no logical pattern emerged from the chaotic string of characters. Historians noted eerie parallels to other forgotten wanderers of the era who had stepped out of their daily lives and into oblivion without a warning. Archive rooms filled with dusty folders of unidentified bodies grew increasingly crowded, holding thousands of similar stories where families never received closure. Every local police department received frantic letters from distant relatives hoping their missing brother or husband might finally match the description of the quiet stranger. Yet the silence surrounding the man in the tailored suit remained absolute, impenetrable, and deeply unsettling to those who sought the truth. The public fascination only intensified as decades slipped away, turning a local Adelaide mystery into a timeless symbol of absolute human anonymity. People began visiting the coastline just to stare at the grey horizon, imagining the final footsteps of a man who decided to leave behind everything he ever knew. Beyond the immediate shock on the shore, the psychological weight of the case began to permeate the collective consciousness of a post-war society grappling with invisible boundaries and unspoken fears. Investigators across Australia found themselves drowning in an unprecedented wave of correspondence from desperate families who believed the silent traveler might be a missing husband, brother, or son. Newspapers printed endless columns speculating on international espionage, dead-drop networks, and Cold War infiltration, turning a local tragedy into an international labyrinth of paranoia. Analysts pored over the still unbroken cipher on that book, searching for mathematical patterns or intelligence codes that stubbornly refused to yield any logical meaning. The atmosphere in government offices grew thick with frustration as fingerprint checks yielded zero matches across local and international registries. Psychologists noted how the complete erasure of identity tapped into a primal human terror, the realization that a person could walk the earth, prepare with meticulous care, and yet vanish into absolute nothingness without leaving a single structural trace of their origin. Archival ledgers from that era show a staggering number of unidentified bodies, yet none captured the public imagination quite like this impeccably dressed stranger who seemed designed by an unknown hand to defy every method of modern detection. Weeks turned into months, and months dissolved into decades, cementing the narrative not merely as a police file, but as a permanent fixture in the catalogue of modern anomalies. The coastline where he was found became a pilgrimage site for amateur sleuths and curious onlookers who stared at the grey waves, wondering what secrets could possibly be worth erasing an entire life. For over 7 decades, the mystery lingered in the cold archives of Australian policing, drawing endless theories from espionage experts and cipher enthusiasts alike. Some whispered of Cold War intelligence operations and invisible inks, while others believed he was a deep-cover agent whose mission ended in total isolation on that windy shore. Then, in 2022, modern forensic genealogy shattered the decades-long silence, using preserved genetic material to finally attach a tentative name to the resting face of Carl Webb, an electrical engineer from Melbourne. Yet despite this monumental breakthrough, the identity of the man brought very few answers to the surface. The true cause of his sudden end remains medically unconfirmed, the meaning behind the still unbroken cipher on that recovered book is entirely lost to time, and who he was meeting on that fatal morning remains a secret buried forever. The file may officially carry a name now, but the core of the enigma stands untouched, a haunting reminder of how easily a human life can be completely erased from history. If this descent into history's darkest puzzles left you chilled, press subscribe and ring the notification bell to unravel more mysteries.